Now we're going to take a look at graphing a hyperbola opening up and down. And let's just recap what we just said in the last video, 7.3a. Whichever term is the positive one, the positive term, the denominator of that one is our a squared. Okay, so in this particular case, a squared, notice that a squared is not the large one, it's the positive one. So a squared is 4, and therefore a is 2. Now, this a is on the transverse axis, just like we talked about last time. But this transverse axis is actually the y direction, right? So this one is going to be opening up and down. Okay, even though the a squared is not larger, it's not about large or small on the hyperbola, it's about positive. Okay, so then that means that this one, excuse me, I'm trying to add a little color here to help out. This one is the b squared, and so b is 3. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at, we know that the origin contains the center, so there's that. Now the transverse axis will be a vertical, and we're going to use the 2, so let's use that 2. We're going to go up 2 and down 2. Now what's interesting about this one is that the conjugate axis is longer, but that does not change the opening. So let me go ahead and get my rectangle on here like we did in the last video. Get my rectangle here. Now I'll put my isotopes on. Oh shoot, getting kind of crooked here. So we can tell the slope, if you kind of just project the slope through the grid paper, it will help you to draw a straight line. So this slope is going through there, so there's my line, and this one's down 2/3, right? So we could write an equation of the isotopes, but I actually don't usually take that approach. So now let's go ahead and put the actual hyperbola on there. These are just guidelines, right? The actual hyperbola has not been placed on the graph yet. So again, the transverse axis is the direction of the open. All right. So if it's gonna open up and down, then I'm gonna put my dot right there, and I'm gonna hug the rectangle. I'm gonna approach the isotope. I'm gonna hug the rectangle until I get to until I get a little closer to the isotope. There's that one, and here's this one. Now what's going to be interesting, notice this is a really wide opening. You're going to notice something about the focus that we'll put in on each of these sides. And it does affect where the focus is located, does affect the shape, right? Let's take a look and see what we get. So we have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Now on subsequent videos, I'm going to actually show you how to do it when the center of the hyperbola is off the origin. But okay, we have c squared is equal to that's 4 plus 9, so c squared is 13, and c is the square root of 13, which is roughly 3.6. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh, let's see. Okay, remember we're going up and down, and so I'm going to go up 3.6 from the center. That's my C, right? 1, 2, 3.6. Notice how much further. You know what? I should use a red. That's how I've typically been putting the foci on. 3.6. There's the focus. You notice how far out from the basic arch that we have this, there's the other focus, 3.6 down. So the further out the focus is, the wider the curve. But anyway, that's actually the reason that the curve is wider, is because where the focus is. Okay, I think that's it, and I appreciate you watching.